Hi, everybody. I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi. Thank you for joining us again today, May 11th, Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific time, where we come and do our regular Q&A, where I take your general questions about U.S. immigration. I answer them on the spot, live for general education purposes, not intended for individual legal guidance, but that's what I'm here for. Located in Los Angeles, California, but helping people from across the world. Luckily for immigration, the stuff we do that my office focuses on, we don't necessarily have to be in the same city, or I can help you anywhere. So we're gonna answer these questions that pop up. I forgot to set up the Instagram and the TikTok account, so I'm gonna do that while I'm doing the introduction. So please bear with me, everyone who's watching on the live show and listening on the recordings as well. Give you a heads up if you're interested in marriage immigration. And you want to learn what's going on with it, please download the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide. This is the ultimate guide I made. Download that marriage, excuse me, download at marriageimmigrationlaw.com. You're going to be amazed at how much free information is out there. It's a really good guide, so I think you're going to really enjoy it. So definitely check that out. And then if you're interested in the EB-1A program, this is the green card for people who are of extraordinary ability. You know, we do a seminar on that live every Friday at 10:30 Pacific time. And so you just come on and check that out. If you want to join that, just send me an email at info@jqklaw.com, and I'll register you there so you can get an idea of what that visa is about. We really break down the A to Z of it, and from process to the criteria needed, all the different stuff. So you have a really good idea of what is actually going on in this process, because it's a complicated process. Both marriage, both everything related to immigration is super complicated. And you know, it's just because a political animal. There's so many questions they have. There's so many security issues. So it leaves a lot of places where things can go wrong. And because of that, you know, that's why I have a job, really, to help people guide it through that. And I try my best to give as much resources free as I can. And if you haven't already, like and subscribe wherever you're watching this. We are up and running now on Instagram and on TikTok. So we'll try to take some questions there as well. And if my wonderful assistant Katrina is not on those, I could take a look at those and answer questions there as well. If they don't pop up in the comments, just let me know on the side. Finally, if you're watching this live, which we have a lot of people joining live right now, we give away free video consultations for those watching live. It's 3, 5, or 15-minute consultations, no cost. All you gotta do is like and subscribe wherever you're watching this, and leave a comment saying consultation. My wonderful assistant Katrina will name somebody in 10 minutes, and 20 minutes, and 30 minutes. Say, hey, you've won. All you got to do is send me an email once I designate the winner, and I'll give instructions then. Email me, and we schedule a private consultation. It'll be a great time. We're going to talk in private. And so, because some of the stuff here you shouldn't talk about publicly because it's your private business. So that's that. I'll be repeating all this every 10 minutes so you have it. But having said that, let's get the show started. All right, we already have a couple of questions trickling in. Daryl says, hello to you too. Thank you for joining us today on the show. JOT says, I got approved on a visa interview for spouse visa. Next day, they want my travel history. I sent my travel history, still 20 days, no reply from them, and the embassy still has my passport. Unfortunately, the embassy does do this sometimes, where you do an embassy interview, they say you're okay, and then you go home, you give them your passport, and then they follow up and ask for more questions, and then nothing happens. They hold on to your passport, nothing's going on. There's not much you can do in these kind of situations. I recommend just holding tight and waiting for them to respond. Sometimes people go and push them. I've seen people just get denied because they don't feel like dealing with it. So still just kind of stay with there and hopefully it gets approved. But it's right now, it's fully out of your control. It's just you got to wait and see what the government does. And that's about as much as you can do in this kind of case. But I hope you get some good news soon. Daryl follows up, my I-539 change of status to F1 has been pending for almost 8 months now. Can you tell me how long it takes, what the processing time is? No, I can't. There's no fixed processing times. And when you change status in the United States to an F1 student visa, processing times could be tremendously long, over a year at times. And that's one of the reasons in most cases when you're going to get a student visa, it's usually recommended that you leave the United States and do consular processing, get your visa through the embassy instead of doing it in the United States, because it becomes problematic when it's actually going to start, and then your school semester might come and go and you're still not approved, and it creates a lot of havoc and creates a lot of space and room for your case to be denied and you potentially being left out of status because you didn't renew something or this and that. It made it extra complicated. So unfortunately there's no timelines that are reliable that can be quoted on that. YH asks, hello sir, I applied for my I-130 for my parents. They never had birth certificates. The authorities at local office say they don't have any record of my parents' birth. So that happens a lot, it's particular in India, but you got to get a letter, a certificate that says they don't have this record. But it depends on the country at your birth. Some countries, the government, the U.S. government, the Department of State expects you to have birth records. If you don't, that becomes problematic. And then you got to, get a certificate from the government entity that says you don't have it, and then work on secondary documents. You might have other documents that show the birth. There's maybe affidavits, there's maybe school records from childhood, baptism certificates, religious certificates, vaccine or medical records from childhood, school records that list your name, that person's name and date of birth, potentially their parents' names. There's just different ways you could try to give evidence that this person is who they are, and hope USCIS accepts it or the Department of State accepts it. But it's the problem that does pop up regularly in a lot of countries. Yemen for older people, India for older people, most times for older people who either lost records due to conflicts and the like, or just they were not kept. It wasn't in their culture to keep at the time, and now they have problems for U.S. immigration. So that, fortunately, YH, you got to really deal with that issue seriously. Simon King's asked, can I submit additional evidence to support my case after responding to notice of intent to deny? Well, it's not good practice to do that. Lawyers don't typically send more evidence like randomly like that. I guess if your response is weak, you give it a shot, but they don't really want you to do that. But if you really feel like you need to send it, then maybe send it. I don't know. I haven't seen your case. It's not something I've done ever, and it's something immigration lawyers do to send evidence because it gets lost and it confuses things and creates problems. So it's not something that's typically done. But if you really need to, if you got notice of intent to deny, that's a really bad thing. You give it a shot. They may not accept it though. They may say you already sent it. So I don't have a clear answer to that. But do what you got to do. But maybe talk with the attorney private first. Milton Torres asks, "Hi John, I have a work permit combined with a travel card. I've been illegally for 18 years, but not other record. Is it safe for me to travel to South America?" This is an individual question. I can't answer what's safe or not for you. On a video thing like this, I don't know the details of your case. Typically, it's not too much of a problem, but I don't know the details of your case, so I don't. It's not appropriate for me to be able to give you that kind of information without having a private consultation or just take on the case. YH follows up. An officer told us that they can produce birth certificates under process of late registration. Does the USCIS embassy accept this birth certificate late entry? No, that's problematic. They could say the late registration of the birth certificate is problematic, so you don't accept it. So I don't know. It depends on your individual case, but you just got to work on it. And it's a limit of how much I can talk about it here. Is just too individualized. I can't give individual guidance because I'm not the attorney on the case. But try to do what you can. Unfortunately, I don't have much guidance additionally that I can add to you here. Tens asks, "Hi, my mom's siblings in the U.S. has filed for I-130, and my age is above 21, and my brother's age is 25. Can we go with our family after 5 or 6 years? Or is there any other way if a child is up 21? Well, I did a lot of videos on this. There's a thing called the Child Status Protection Act, where essentially you see how long it took to adjudicate that I-130. So your aunt submitted, your aunt or uncle submitted a Form I-130 petition for your mom. And the I-130 petition could have taken 2 or 3 years to be approved. It could have taken 10 years to be approved. Whatever timeline that is, when the immigrant visa becomes available on the visa response chart, getting to the technical terms of being more complicated. But once your case is current, if you could submit within a year, you submit a case, potentially you could decrease your age by 5 years. So by the years it took that for the case to be decided. So going back to I-130, if the I-130 took 3 years to adjudicate, and you do the rest of the paperwork right, you could subtract 3 years from your age. So if you're 25 at the time, it would still just be 22. It doesn't work. But if it took 10 years for the I-130 to be adjudicated, and the time comes to start immigrant visa processing, the next step, you can just subtract 10 years from your age, and that'll bring you to 15. So it can work. It's a calculation. I need to see the I-130 approval notice to see when it's filed, what it is, and also when the case is current. And at that time, make a decision which way it is and be able to do the calculation. Be mindful that it hasn't been on once, been many times where the National Visa Center or the embassy didn't do the calculation properly in this. And for some reason, the Child Status Protection Act is very complicated and convoluted and creates a lot of confusion for people. But something you got to be careful of. You might be right and they may be wrong. You have to fight it. But first things first, we got to review all the paperwork to see how long the I-130 took, calculate the age at the time the visa bulletin became current, and then make the argument. So that's just behind the scenes of it. I don't know about your individual case, how it's going to come out without reviewing those documents. LG asks, hello, John. Hey, I'm John Regulars. My boyfriend and I are planning to get married. He's Italian. Can I file a petition for him right away if he comes to the U.S., get married, and returns to India immediately? Generally, you can, but um, there's somebody who contacted me from India once who did something like that, and they got it for fraud. The facts were different. I don't know the facts in your case. In Italian, you use the visa waiver program, so that's possible. I've had cases like this, but I have to give a bigger warning and send talk with you about this. That's why I think Leah had asked me in private about this too. I got to send talk with you guys. I can't give you individual legal guidance on something like this. And so that's why I just got to talk in private, because this is an individual case decision. I can't just willy-nilly say something to a random person that could affect their lives seriously. But thank you for your question. I do want to announce the raffle winner, Milton Torres. Thank you for watching. All you got to do is take a screenshot of where you're watching this and email it to me at info@jqqlaw.com. And so I see that is you emailing me at, seeing your username in the top right corner or wherever you're watching this. And then what we'll do is I'll send you a link to schedule a private video consultation. We'll take care of that, and we'll talk about it. For those just tweeting into the live show, we provide free video consultations to winners, for people watching on live show. It's a raffle. In about 10 minutes and 20 minutes, we'll announce 2 more people that could get on it. So definitely jump aboard. You'll have a good time, and we'll talk in private. Now, if you're interested in doing a marriage or immigration case, what you got to do is download the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide at marriageimmigrationlaw.com. That's marriageimmigrationlaw.com. And you'll get a lot of information on the fiancé and green card process, marriage green card process. Even if you're just doing the green card process in general, download it because it's a lot of information there that's going to be helpful and overlap with all the different categories. And along with that, if you're interested in doing the EB1A Extraordinary Ability Green Card, you want to learn more about it, what you got to do is go and register and join the live seminar we're doing. It's called the EB1A Playbook, where we break down the A to Z of the EB1A process so you know what to do, how to prepare for it. It's Fridays, 10:30 a.m. Pacific time. Just email me to schedule consultation. It's not consultation. Email me to register. It's info@jqqlaw.com. And let's go next one. 29 Super C, one of our regulars. Good night, Tranka Strike. Hope you're doing well. I still haven't got my green card yet. Still waiting. I'm sorry to hear that. And so it says it's been 5 weeks and I need advice. Not much. You could try calling USCIS. So this person did consular processing, entered the United States. Green card is supposed to be mailed to them. Still hasn't been. Call USCIS, see what's going on. Typically, it comes within a few weeks, but sometimes it takes 6 months, 9 months, a year. I've seen that happen. Now, the immigrant visa stamp in your passport, once you enter and the CBP officer stamps your passport with that admission, will act as a green card for 1 year. So you can use that for travel, for work authorization, this and that. But unfortunately, these kind of things happen where they don't send it. Call USCIS, see what's going on. Sometimes they'll claim they sent it and it was delivered and you lost it, even though you never got it. In those cases, you have to file Form I-90 to get a new green card. So call them, see what's going on. But it's not I've heard it happen before where it takes 6 or 9 months to get the green card. It's not unheard of. Fatis asks, with green card, how many months can you leave the U.S. for another country? Well, it's not as fixed as you put it, but generally speaking, as a green card holder, you're supposed to be living in the United States and only visiting other places. If you're outside for more than 6 months, they can start questioning you about whether you're really here. That could be easily do. They can always do it if they want to. It's 2 months, but 6 months is serious. A year, they get considered abandoned. So those are the legal, the technical things, and you just got to go by the technical aspects. You got to just live in the United States. If you're going to be outside for an extended period of time, you should apply for what's called a re-entry permit. Form I-131, it's a re-entry permit. It's a travel document that says, hey, I'm potentially going to be out for up to 2 years. Please give me that time. I'll tell you ahead of time. That may help you save the green card, not 100%. If you've already been outside the United States for long periods of time, they may not give you a full 2 years. They might give you 1 year or not give you any time at all. So it depends on your history. And note that these absences abroad may affect your green card. They may not, but they will affect your citizenship application. They'll look back and say, hey, how come you just weren't living in the United States? You're a green card holder. And that could lead to a denial of citizenship. So be careful for that one. Namgat says, hi, how do you? Miss Nod says, how long does it take to get a green card after interview? If you interview successful, and they give you approval right there, whenever you get approval, typically it's it depends. Are you talking about a USCIS interview or are you talking about a consular processing interview at an embassy? For USCIS, typically a week or two later or lies after you're approved. Sometimes people go to the interview and doesn't get approved, and they approve it 2 weeks later, a month later. So it depends on when your approval is, not the interview itself. The interview itself is just another step. But once it's approved, typically it comes in the mail 1 or 2 weeks later. As we talked about with 29 Super C, who did consular processing, got approved into the United States. It's been 5 weeks, they haven't got their green card yet. And I've had cases where 6 or 9 months later, they still haven't got it. So there's no fixed time other than usually an adjustment of status cases that are approved. Typically, 2 to 3 weeks later, you get the green card mail. That's pretty standard. It doesn't usually go longer than that. Consular processing, unfortunately, it's really unreliable. Another regular paranoid Android says, if I need to file an O1 extension, can I continue to work while it's pending, or must I wait until it's approved? And is it only allowed 1 year increments? Yeah, O1, sometimes you want to get a whole new one instead of extension because it's only available for 1 year when you extend it. Now, I don't myself do O1s. I have colleague associates that handle that. Some of the best resource for that. But if my firm does handle it, it's not me. If you need O1 extension, can continue to work while it's pending. You could work up to one. There's a number, 240 days, I think it is, but I have to check that. I don't do O1s. I do L1 extensions, for example, not O1s. I think there's a 240-day extension that you get automatically, but I just don't deal with O1, so I don't myself, so I don't want to give you an official answer on that. But thanks for asking, Karen Andrew. I appreciate it. Good to see you again. Abbaskan says, applied asylum in 2016, but not yet given an interview. What's the reason for this delay? 1 million people filed for asylum at the same time. There's a border crisis where another 1 million people are applying at the border. By saying 1 million, I just mean a lot. And so you're caught up in the mix, and then you're just backed up, unfortunately. I'm sorry to say that. S. Holmes says, how long is I-130 taking? It depends on what kind of I-130 you have, what kind of case you have, which service center has it, and sometimes some I-130s take longer than others. So the question is just too broad for to be able to be answered. Check out USCIS.gov and their filing timelines page, and they'll be able to help you with that. 29 Super C, thanks for the advice. I hope it's sooner than 6 to 9 months. Yeah, me too. What a headache that these green cards take so long sometimes. Karen asks, hi, I've got a 2-year green card, married for 2 years and 6 months. My wife cheated on me, and she just had a new baby, which is not mine. I'm sorry to hear that. Am I going to lose my green card when I file I-751? No, not necessarily. You have to fight it and say, listen, the marriage is real. It didn't work out, and deal with the I-751. It would be recommended to have a local attorney that can help you with that. You might need to come to interview. It's an intense application because you have to document it and potentially do an interview in person. But that's that. Nora says, how long is the P3 AOR is taking? I don't know. I don't handle P3, so these things vary in time. So, like when the questions about timeline pop up, it's unfortunately so different for different kinds of cases, different entities, different USCI field offices, that it's not a thing I say is this long, this long. I could say that long. If you go to USCIS.gov, USCIS.gov recently updated this page where it gives you a timeline of how long things take, and they give you a number there. The number is completely incorrect. I don't have any cases to follow the numbers they say there. They say 80% of the time the cases take this long. And so it's like, well, what about the 20%? 20% is not a small number. So if they say, for example, an I-130 is taking 15 months, 80% of the time, 20% aren't. Like someone asked me how long things are taking. 1 out of 5 cases taking that long. That's a long time, 20 out of 100 cases. So the timeline is completely out of whack. Unfortunately, if you want to get a visa, you do the steps, and then you hope for the best. Really, that's just the reality of it. Fatsy follows up, didn't understand any question about how long a green card holder can be outside the United States. I did answer that pretty detailed. There's a lot of videos I have online. You, as a green card holder, you're supposed to be living in the United States. If you wanted to visit outside for a month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, you'll go ahead, but your home has to be here. If you don't do that, you risk losing the green card at a re-entry. They might take it away from you, or try to take it away from you, or hassle you about it. You shouldn't be outside more than 6 months. It opens the door for them to hassle you. At over a year, technically, you could be abandoned and lose your green card, so you definitely don't want to be outside for more than a year. They don't always do that in practice, but that's what the rules say. But in practice, I've seen that rarely enforced. But the reality is, if you want to answer like that, you got to full on answer. You got to talk in private so I can see why you're leaving outside, what you're doing, what your life in the United States is, to see what arguments they are, how to believe it. So it's not something I could say if one size fits all, that it works for everybody. We got to know more information about your connections to the United States, how you got your green card, all this kind of stuff. So definitely just consult with an attorney in private. It's the best thing to do. American Good Boy asks, my mother applied for my brother to bring him to U.S., but she but she went back home. Can I do anything? She went back home. My mother applied for my brother to bring him to U.S., but she went back home. Can I do anything? Well, you can apply for a brother if you're a U.S. citizen, but it's going to take forever. It's going to take like 10, 15, 20 years. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know anything about your brother. I don't know anything about you. So I don't have an answer for that. It's too individualized a question. Faith says, how long does it take to get an interview scheduled again if you get an interview canceled and notice order? So whenever they get a chance to call you back, that's up to them. There's no fixed time on this kind of stuff. Love to ask, can you travel overseas when you have an I-751 waiver application pending after divorce? Yeah, if you have an I-751 and the receipt notice is still valid, the 2-year extension, you can travel. Now, you got to be careful. For example, if you got an RFE and you might get denied while you're outside, you don't want that to happen. But if you just filed a no RFE yet, the likelihood of denial being small, yeah, you could travel. But, you just got to be cautious with timing and how long you'll be out and all this kind of stuff. The winner of a raffle is actually you, Love Sing. So if you like, just take a screenshot of where you're watching this and email it to me at info@jqqlaw.com, and we'll schedule a private consultation. I can answer this question in more detail in the private setting. Again, just take a screenshot and send it to me at info@jqqlaw.com, and we can set up a private consultation 15 minutes and talk about video. Having said that, for those just tuning in, we provide free video consultations as a raffle. For those watching on the live show, all you got to do is like and subscribe wherever you're watching this, and in the comments, write consultation. My wonderful assistant Katrina will name off a winner, and then I'll name them off in like I don't know, 10 minutes or so. Let me see. Okay. And so just do that, and we'll name your name in 10 minutes and hopefully get a consultation out of it. Now, if you are interested in learning about the marriage green card case, the fiance visa case, download the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide. It's the best guide out there for free, 40 plus pages, so much detail. Even if you're not doing a marriage case, you want to get to know about my work, how giving I am, download this guide at marriageimmigrationlaw.com. You're going to see how detailed it is, how much information is there, sample declarations, sample questions, this and that, breakdown what forms I need, all this kind of stuff. And you'll be amazed, wow, this guy's giving away for free. And I am, why not? People need this help too. So download at marriageimmigrationlaw.com. And then also, if you're interested in an EB1A Extraordinary Ability Green Card, this is a green card for people at the top of their fields, athletics, athletes, runners, football players, actors, but it could be business people, it could be scientists, it could be, anything that you do that you're one of the best at, and you're really high up in your field, you can get a U.S. green card potentially. So I talk about what that process entails, what documentation is needed, how it all works for free at our seminar called the EB1A Extraordinary Playbook. Look at it at if you want to register for it, just email me at info@jqqlaw.com. It's at 10:30 a.m. this Friday and a couple more Fridays afterwards, and continue doing this until we move on to the next segment, next focus, which is going to be on E2 investor visas. But EB1A, just email me at info@jqqlaw.com, and I'll get you in on the seminar. All right, next question. We got a lot of questions pop up. Daryl asked, as a pending change of status F1, can I take some certification courses online? I don't know. I got to see what these courses are and how much it looks like it might be violating another status that you have. If it's like a how to cook for your buddy course, that's like a online course for a week, then it's not serious, then that's fine. But if it's something serious that's considered like a degree or something like that, could be problematic. I have to see what it is, and even then, I can't say for sure. It just depends on what USCIS thinks about it. So I can't. This is too general a question. I can't answer it here. But if we have a private consultation, I can't guarantee it because it depends on the agency's interpretation. Because each certification course is different. There's a million different ones. Depends on how serious it is. If it's something that requires a student visa or not. Alex asks, hello, how long can I stay outside the United States if I have an I-90 renewal pending? If you have a renewal pending, you might need to do fingerprints. So you got to come back to that. But it's the same. The I-90 renewal pending itself, it doesn't make a difference. It's the same rules as a green card holder. You're not supposed to be living outside the United States. You're supposed to, maintain your residence in the United States. Cindy asks, hey, John, how long my daughter, who's turning 21, can finish petitioning me as parent since she is a U.S. citizen? Can we do requirements now? Can you handle our case? How long my daughter, who's, Cindy, your question is a little bit topsy-turvy. If your daughter's 21 and you enter the U.S. lawfully, then you can file for adjustment of status. If you're overseas, they can start the process potentially. But I need to know a lot more information before I can take a handle your case. So please contact the office and schedule, excuse me, and schedule a private consultation so I can look and talk with you or your daughter, see what's going on. There's just not enough information here for me to be able to answer that. YH follows up, sir, once my parents are in the United States and got the green card, will they be able to sponsor their other children right away, or do they have to wait until they become citizens? So a green card holder can petition for the green cards of their minor and adult children who are single. So if your siblings are married, no, they can't do anything unless your parents become citizens. Then they can file for them. But if your siblings are single or their children are single, then yeah, they can file for them. If the children are over 21, it's going to take, I don't know right now, 7 or 8 years or something. It takes a little bit of time. And that children can't get married during this time. So it's something to be cautious of. But it may be possible. I got to see what's going on in exactly the case, but it is possible. Green card holders can file for single children generally. BJ asks, can you go back to a past employer who did the hour my party date EB2 is current? Maybe there's a thing called portability, but I don't know the exact details of your case, so I can't say exactly if you could do that or not. I need to know more information. All right. So yeah, a lot of these cases just too nuanced. I don't want to just throw out an answer there and give you the wrong answer. So we got to really sit down and analyze what's going on in these kind of cases. Now, I did mention something about these timelines. USCIS did update its website to attempt to better, simplify how they talk about how long cases are taking. I don't think it's that big a deal, but to them it's a big deal. They changed it up. I don't think it's that helpful. But if you're interested, just go to uscis.gov, click on tools, and go to case, timelines, and put in your case type, and you'll see what they have there. User 924 says, my husband's I-130 is documentarily qualified, waiting for interview scheduled. How long is the wait for interview overseas? It varies. Some embassies will do it a month after it's documentarily qualified. Some will be 2 years. It really depends on your country and your luck. I have countries where two clients, same country, one gets an interview 2 months after being documentary qualified. One is 9 months still pending. So there's no real answer that I can give you on this, unfortunately. This timeline is even worse with USCIS. USCIS gives you general estimates. The embassies are kind of nothing right now. Just say, wait, that's all we got. So that's the only real answer someone can give you because it's unreliable, let's put it that way. So we have another question. Rim Deep says, how much time is it for F4 India 2020 now at NBC? I don't know the charts. I don't know your case. These questions about timelines, unfortunately, are difficult to answer. I need more information, and many times I can't give it. Content processing in India is really backed up. So because of that, we can't give information. Now, I do want to announce our raffle winner. Make sure she's still watching. Cindy, you had asked about your daughter who's a citizen filing for you. You won our free consultation raffle. So what I want you to do is take a screenshot where you're watching this, so I know it's you, and email it to me at info@jqqlaw.com. Again, that's info@jqqlaw.com. So I know it's you, and I'll reply with an email on how to schedule a private video consultation. For those just tuning in, we give away free consultations. It's a raffle. If you're watching a live show, we ran out for today. We gave away 3. What you got to do next week, Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific, is to watch and like and subscribe and comment saying consultation, and we randomly choose. My wonderful assistant Katrina chooses 3 people for me to name off 10, 20, 30 minutes into the show and to get free consultations. We already gave away 3 today, and look forward to giving another 3 next week. So you got one more question. Bajwadan asks, what is the online I-130 online center time look like? There's no online center. When you file an I-130, either in paper or online, it gets distributed to different service centers. Each one has different timelines, and the timelines that they give us are unreliable. I have fiance cases that take 4 months. I have fiance cases that take 12 months. I have I-130 petitions for parents, U.S. citizens that take 5 months, and I have ones that take a year and a half. So how they're looking like, anyone's guess. And one last question. Afson asks, can a person with EWI adjust status without leaving the country through marriage? Well, maybe, Afson. So if this is the person who came without a visa or parole into the United States, can they adjust status, apply for a green card in the United States without going through the embassy? It is possible if you're potentially married to a military person, your child's a military person. It could be possible if you had a petition pending started in the 1990s on a 245I. It could be you have deferred action for child arrivals, DACA. You leave and re-enter. It depends on whether your spouse is a U.S. citizen or green card holder. Afson, there's just too many variables in this that we have to know. It is possible for some people, let's say like 2% of the people or 1% of the people. I don't know you with that lucky group or not. So that's that. I guess we'll take one more question. Lawrence asks, I've applied for a green card EB-based I-45 in December 2020 in Boston. It's been transferred to Texas and stayed there 60 months. Now, I guess you want to talk about timelines. Lawrence, as you expediting what you do, no answer really. I don't know how long it's going to take, and expediting something like this is very difficult, especially you have to have a really good reason. I doubt them happen. Best thing to do is just be patient. That's all I can tell you. So thank you everyone for joining us. We'll be back again next Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific, to take your questions. I can't really answer a ton of my questions, but we have some good questions there. They're meaty, legal kind of stuff, explaining it. So I look forward to that. I guess I'll see you all next week. Bye.